Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, and welcome to, can you believe it, the first visual podcast episode of the Redefining Wellness podcast. It's your girl Neek, and I hope that you are feeling wonderful, awesome, and amazing, and all the things that makes you you. Welcome back to the podcast that helps you to redefine the way that you view wellness, one episode at a time, so that you can be healthy unapologetically and authentically, so that you can take up as much space on this earth as you want to. Y'all, welcome to the very first video podcast episode. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I can't believe it. I can't believe it, but I feel like I've been talking about this for years and it's finally here. So, if you are watching on YouTube, welcome, friends. I am your wellness bestie in your head. Okay. And to my friends that are listening through your headphones, because that's how we've been doing it for the last like 2.5 years, welcome. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm here for that. Okay. So, but per usual, before we get into the nitties and the gritties, remember to like, rate, review, subscribe, whether you are watching on YouTube or you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or if you're part of the Alive Podcast Network fam. Whatever you are listening to, however you're joining me, make sure that you do the things. Don't be a stranger. Make sure that you keep coming back. For our friends that are watching this for the very first time, let me give you some ground rules for how this podcast works, okay? I have several segments, not too many, but we start off with song of the week. And literally it is just an album, a song, something that's new or something that's nostalgic for me. Whether I rant about it or rave about it, you can also submit your favorite songs, albums, musical experiences, and I talk about them on the show. Then our next segment is What's Neek Watching, and I talk about a new show or movie that I'm currently watching. I also include other podcasts that I'm watching and listening to. And then my favorite segment, which is And So My Therapist Said. And these are moments where my therapist has drugged me by my front teeth, or when I have guests on the show, they share something that a mentor has left with them that has been life-changing or just kind of gave them that aha moment. You know what I'm saying? So those are our segments. And then of course we get into the nitty-gritties of the show. And with it being the first week of December, it is only fitting for us to talk about how to get started on your 2026 wellness goals now and not to wait until January the 1st, because there's a lot of preparation that goes into your wellness, whether it is that you're trying to lose weight, whether you are trying to build muscle, whether you are training for something. I'm going to get into that in a minute. Whether you are, whatever it is, but whatever you're trying to do, you have to prepare for it now. You can't do it later. But first, let's get into Song of the Week. This week, we're not talking about a song. I saw Brandy, Monica, Kelly Rowland, and Maya last night. So I'm recording on a Monday. I saw them last night on Sunday. They came into DC. Shout out to my sister-in-law for surprising me with tickets. Also, mostly shout out to my brother's mother-in-law for the tickets also. And I wasn't expecting to even go to the show. I remember when the tickets came out, and me, like many people at the time, I ain't had the cash money for that. So I was like, guess I'm not going. I'll watch from somebody's TikTok live or something like that. Last week, I had called my brother to ask him, like, hey, can you come? I messed up on this coffee table and I need you to help me put it together properly. And my sister-in-law was like, hey, what are you wearing to the Brandy and Monica concert? I was like, girl, nothing. I didn't get a ticket. Her response was, that's not what I asked you. So I said, oh, say less, babes. Say less, say less. I had a whole kind of a week to prepare my little outfit and stuff like that. And honestly, I didn't know what to expect, y'all. I didn't know the feelings that were going to be invoked from this concert. All of these women that performed, I remember when all of them came out. Okay. I'm going to try not to make this a super long segment. So if you saw the show, you're going to really connect to it. All right, we're going to do it anyway. So shout out to that boy. I think his name is Jamal Roberts. He won American Idol. He's from Mississippi. Voice. T, amazing. Loved it. He sang it down, baby. I'm excited to see what comes from him in the future, especially once he's done with like his American Idol contract. I think what I've noticed from a lot of the American Idol folks, once they're done with that and they kind of get to do the music that they want to do, they kind of take off a little bit more than what I think American Idol could have set them up for. But he was amazing. So then Maya comes out, and Maya is the original pretty girl. Now, for my folks that have been listening to the show for a while, you know I'm a original PG girl from Pretty Girl County. Maya went to Roosevelt. She is actually from Prince George's County, and if anybody knows, Roosevelt was the biggest rival to everybody in the entire county. But Maya came out beautiful, gorgeous. She was singing, microphone was on, she was dancing. The outfit, amazing. And the visuals, I was really surprised with the visuals. I think a lot of artists have really been stepping up their visuals over the last couple of years. So I was really impressed with that. And then, so Maya performed, and I got emotional because I remember when she came out with Moving On with my baby Silk the Shocker. It was so awesome. She performed like she did Lady Marmalade, she did Fallen, she did My Love Is Like Whoa. Man, I was really impressed. But then Kelly Rowland came out. Calandria Rowland. Body. Whew. Music. Visuals. I wasn't expecting the visuals. Like, I knew to expect a lot from Kelly, but baby, she served on a platter. Like, she gave so much. I was so impressed with what we received. It was truly a great experience, right? Eight down, eight down. And I didn't expect to get so emotional at the beginning of the show. Brandy and Monica hadn't even come out yet. And I got really emotional. I cried during Maya's set. So Kelly performed. She did Destiny's Child songs. Wasn't expecting her to do Destiny's Child songs, which was awesome. And then Brandy and Monica came out, and I feel like everybody was so intentional about this tour. They made sure that there was not one stone that was not unturned. They made sure that the visuals were on point, the outfits were on point, everything was down to a T. Okay? They didn't come here to play with y'all. The outfits were just, oh my gosh, the hair, the makeup. Like, they performed songs that I didn't think they were going to perform. Brandy did a good amount of songs from the Never Say Never album. She did a lot of her first, songs from her first album. She read the room. She knew who was going to the store. And what was so nostalgic and so emotional for me was Brandy was the first female artist that I had to essentially look up to. Brandy came out, I was turning 5 because her album came out, I believe, in 1994. And I'll take it back. I had the cassette. My daddy got the cassette. Okay. And I used to wear that cassette out. I loved that cassette. And then I didn't get into Monica until the Boy Is Mine album because I really love For You I Will. That in the talent show in 3rd grade. And then when Never Say Never came out, they came out in 98. I danced to Top of the World in the talent show for that. And Moesha had came out, and Brandy was just the epitome of what, for me, I thought that I was going to be when I grew up. From everything from the style of dress to the braids to just the way that she carried herself, Brandy really was a super duper role model to a lot of Black girls. And I think it really hit me last night how much of a role model Brandy actually is. Like, I was really thrown. Like, I didn't expect to get so emotional, y'all. Like, I was tearing up. I was crying. Like, it was real. It was so real, but it was such a great show. It was such a great experience. Me and my sister-in-law had a time. That stadium, that's not stadium, that arena was packed. It was at the Capital One, packed, baby, packed. But it was such a great show. And it's not a lot of tour dates left. I know that they hit a lot of the big cities already, but if you have the opportunity, if you have the space, if you have the time to go see that show, go see that show. It is so stinking good. I was really, really impressed. So now I'm gonna go through their catalogs all over again, listen to everything all over again. And I got emotional originally during Maya's set because I think I looked at her as, you're a girl that's from where I'm from, and look at where you are. All of these women are between 45 and 46. and they're beautiful. Most of them are mothers. Most of them have been through a lot of shit. And it was really good to see these ladies just get up there and do what they loved, and they looked like they had so much fun. Like, you ever been to a show where it looked like the artist wasn't having a good time? Bryson Tiller. Yeah, I'm talking to you. When I saw him at that Chris Brown show, stage presence wasn't there at all. And I know he's over it. He is tired of making music. He's tired of performing, but I expected a lot more from him. But with this, I knew that these ladies were going to deliver because they are world-class artists. They are super creatives, and to be in that space, to be in that energy with them and other women that appreciate their music as well, it was so awesome, and I'm glad that I got to experience that. So that is my song of the week. It's really tour show concert show of the week this week. So our next segment, what's Nique watching? This is, like I mentioned, this is where I talk about shows that I'm getting into, podcasts that I'm listening to. And my goal for 2026 is to actually read more books, to read more fictional books, not to read like books that I'm for things that I'm studying for. But nonetheless, I finished the morning show. I have finished the morning show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm into season 2. It took me forever to get here, but I had been talking about the morning show in previous podcast episodes, and Steve Carell blew my fucking mind. I love when I watch an artist in something that's different from what we typically see them in, or an actor that's in something completely different than what we've seen them in. And Steve Carell, coming from comedy, granted, he did do, what was that movie, Crazy Stupid Love or Crazy Punch Love? It was comedy, but it wasn't like comedy. But this, he threw a little comedy, but it was very dramatic. And the way that they did this is like, was y'all talking to Katie Couric for real? What's going on? And I know that this is based off of a book, like that's supposed to kind of be an expose on morning shows in the United States, but it was giving that Katie Couric like wrote that book. And I know that she didn't, but man, the morning show is really good. Seeing Jennifer Aniston in a different type of role has been really great. Seeing Reese Witherspoon kill it again. And I loved when I saw Reese Witherspoon in Little Fires Everywhere, because for me, that was a different role. I didn't watch her in Big Little Lies. And of course, I watched Legally Blonde. Of course, I watched Cruel Intentions. In Cruel Intentions, she was serious in that role. But this role, she's so much more complex. Like I said, very similar to her in Little Fires Everywhere, which I'm so mad did not get a second season. I understand why they didn't get a second season, but I'm still mad they didn't get a second season. I'm really impressed. And Homegirl that was in Beyond the Lights, I didn't watch that movie. I just know that she was in it. Wow, the way that she killed the role, no pun intended. Such a great job. I was really impressed with this first season. I'm in the middle of season 2. What I really love about the morning show is that it's not these super long, drawn out seasons. It's like 10 episodes a season, and they're about an hour long for the episodes, but I really like it thus far. I was told that season 4 is really great, so I'm excited to build up into those seasons as well. But if that's something that you're checking out, let's talk about it. Write it in the comments. Y'all know you can always email me, redefiningwellnesspod@gmail.com. And something else that I watched, y'all, that I said that I was going to watch. I watched the Selena documentary, Selena Y Los Dinos. Man, that was a good documentary. I was very impressed with the way that they kind of dove into the family a little bit more. I'm glad that her husband got to be a part of the podcast. The podcast got to be a part of the documentary. They did not talk too much about Yolanda Saldivar. Love that they didn't do that. They talked more about actually Selena the person, and like what they were actually going through, from them being kids. Baby, they are Texas kids. Those are Texas kids. They sound, I mean, I get it. They're from Texas, but you would not think, if you close your eyes and you didn't know that it was Selena, you would not think that they sang Tejano music. You wouldn't have thought that. You wouldn't have thought that, which I was really like, wow. And I love how they talk about like how they got Big Bertha and all of the changes they made to Big Bertha. Chris talking about the beginning stages of their relationship when they got married and, all of these things. It was a really great documentary. And I remember seeing on TikTok, a lot of people were upset that the family was doing the documentary. Some people were like, oh, let her die, let her be passed on, like, stop bringing her up. But when you have a family member that was destined for such great things, you keep the legacy alive. Is there money attached to it? Of course. But I would rather the family get the money, the royalties, all of the things that are attached to that versus like some big conglomerate that paid for Selena's rights or, took Selena's name from the family or something like that. So, and I love that one of the things that they said, and it makes sense why the documentary is titled Selena Y Los Dinos, because the only reason we know her as Selena is because that's how she was marketed in America. In America, she wasn't marketed with her family. And she always made a point that this was a family thing. It was always going to be a family thing. And they all knew it was a family thing. Even though Selena is like in the forefront, they all knew it was a family thing. And I really was like, wow, like that's beautiful. And that's great that they, moved in that direction and they moved in that space. And I saw that they opened the Selena museum. I believe it's in Corpus Christi. Baby, they got that girl's car. They got her clothes. I wouldn't be able to go to something like that. I think I would cry. I don't think I could go to anything like that. But I love that for them. I love that they did that. And they did a really, 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 really great job with the documentary. I'm really impressed with how they pulled that off. Shout out and super duper kudos to them. So the next segment that we're going to get into is, and so my therapist said, and this is that segment, as I mentioned earlier, y'all, where we talk about how my therapist drags me by my front teeth. So I have therapy every 2 weeks, and we're really digging into like the rebirth of me. If you've been following me for years, you know that I'm a full year of single, and we were talking about how I would celebrate that and what that would look like for me, what emotions that I felt moving towards it. And one of the things that I said to my therapist last week was, I was like, what pisses me off, and I went through a lot in my previous relationship. What pisses me off is that why did my ex, why did he choose to do those things to me? Like, why me? Why did he choose to just be awful towards me, And I started to cry and I got really emotional about it. And I really let it out. I really let it out over the last like week and a half. And her response was, because you are the goose that laid the golden egg. And because my thing was, he's doing all these awful things to me, but why are you still with me? Like, why couldn't you leave me alone all these years ago? Why did you still pursue me? Like, why did you do this whole, the love bombing thing? Like, why did you do that? Why wouldn't you just let me go? Why couldn't you just go be with somebody else? Like, why? And that was her response. She said, because you are the goose that lays the golden egg. You had something that he wanted to hold on to and he didn't want to let go. And so, I will always say, like, when I would be getting ready to leave, that's when like the love bombing was starting. I didn't realize it was love bombing at first, but my therapist was like, you possess something that he needed. You possess something that he wanted. And he was going to make sure that he had it. There's something special about you. Don't ever feel that you're not special. Just make sure that you give your talents, your gifts, that golden egg to the right person. But that was something going into my 1 year of no contact that just, I was so confused about that. And her breaking it down for me in that way, it was like, damn, bitch, you right. I am that girl. I am. There is something special about me. It's a whole lot special about me because I just didn't understand it. And I remember being on therapy 2 weeks ago and just being like, and she lets me have my moments. She lets me cry it out, and she's like, you had something that was needed. You had something that was needed. You had something that was needed. But at some point in time you have to pull it back and realize, like, you don't get to have access to this. You don't get to have this thing that you think is so coveted because you don't know how to treat it. you know, it wasn't necessarily a drag, but it was comfort that I needed and also like a confidence boost that I needed at the same time to kind of get me through that moment of you've made it to 1 year of no contact. And, how do we continue to move forward without looking back? And that was one of the things I needed. I needed to really express, like, that's one of the things that pisses me off is to think about, like, damn, how could this person continuously do these things to me, treat me as if I wasn't wanted, but you weren't letting me go. You were not letting me go. So I've been learning a lot of lessons in this year, and I know that I have more lessons to come. But therapy has greatly helped me. I don't take for granted going to therapy. I've said before that I would fully share my story. It's coming. We'll talk about it one day. But until then, if you have listened to all three of these segments or watched all three of these segments, remember you can email me at redefiningwellnesspod@gmail.com and you can submit your song of the week, your show that you would like to rant, rave, review, or you can share with me a time that your therapist also dragged you by your front teeth, or even a mentor that gave you some great piece of advice. So remember, that is there for you, redefiningwellnesspod@gmail.com. So to get into this week's full episode, we are talking about the ways to get your new year started on the right track. And that's by being prepared starting the first week of December. How many times have you started New Year's and you realized, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. Oh my gosh, I didn't clean my house. Oh my gosh, I didn't cook. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I don't have my meal prep. I don't have, you know what I'm saying? You don't have a plan. You know you want to do something, but you don't have a plan. So we're going to talk about all of the ways that you can actually come up with the plan so that you can get the things done. Once upon a time, in gorgeous Prince George's, there was a girl named Anthony, and she always waited until January 1st to get her New Year's shit started. She always waited, and then she always seemed to be behind the curveball. I'm talking about myself, y'all. I was always behind the curveball. But then I started to really put my degrees in good use. And I realized how important it is to really sit down with your goals, how important it is to really use those SMART goals. SMART goals is not there for shits and giggles. Like, actually use the SMART goals. So, like, for example, I always make a huge list of things that I want to accomplish for the year. I start doing that in December. And then I start thinking about what are the things that I need to do to really accomplish those goals. The number one thing that you have to start out with, whether it is you want to lose weight, you want to start going to a yoga class, you want to build your flexibility up, you want to make more money, you want to do whatever, you have to think about what my actual attainable goals are. Be specific, be measurable, attainable, realistic. A lot of y'all don't be realistic in these goals. Okay. And timely. Now, we've already said that we want to accomplish this within 2026, right? So that's T. That takes your T out of there. But be specific about your goals. You know what I'm saying? Don't just say, oh, I want to lose weight. How much weight you want to lose? Okay. Don't just say, I want to be healthy. What does that look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that really look like? Don't be so vague with yourself because then you're not going to have anything to measure. You know what I'm saying? So that gets us into the next thing. So, how are you going to measure your success? Are you going to do it by just hopping on the scale? Don't do that. Are you going to do it by using a body impedance scale? Yes, do that. You want to do that. How often are you going to weigh yourself? How often are you going to measure how you're doing with your goals? Maybe one of your goals, like me, is to increase your subscribers on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, right? How am I going to measure those things? I got to look at it every so often. I can't just piss in the wind and just hope that the subscribers and stuff are going to come. I actually got to post the videos. I got to edit the videos. I got to do the things, right? Same thing when it comes to your wellness journey. How are you going to measure that it's actually working so that you know you can be realistic about it, make the changes and the tweaks as you need to? You feel me? Is it truly attainable? Are you saying that you want to lose 50 pounds in 30 days? That's not attainable, babes. Unless you do some things, then it might be attainable, but is it really attainable? Can you really reach this goal? You know, But if we want to dig a little bit deeper into those SMART goals, I think some of the things that don't get talked about often is what is the inner work that you have to do in order to achieve your goals. And let's just really talk about the wellness side of things. If you are trying to lose weight, if you're trying to be healthier, maybe you want to lower your blood pressure, maybe you want to lower your cholesterol, be honest with yourself. What are you currently doing to sabotage yourself to make you stay in the same place that you're currently in? A lot of us sabotage ourselves, and that's okay. That is a real humanistic thing. I've been really diving deep into neuroscience, and actually, one of my homegirls reminded me about this was our brain is not trained for success. Our brain is trained for comfort. When we're trying to attain success, it's uncomfortable. So, like exercising for some people is probably uncomfortable. Eating a particular type of way, uncomfortable. Think to yourself, what are you doing to stay in that comfortable, but yet possibly toxic space that you're in? How are you sabotaging yourself? Ask yourself, why are you afraid of getting healthy? Why are you afraid to actually go for that goal? I know that for me, it wasn't necessarily that I was afraid to lose weight. I was afraid of the person that I was going to become. I didn't know who she was. So that was scary for me. And so I would kind of sabotage it. I would sabotage it through emotional eating. I would sabotage it through just not being honest with myself. And yes, Black girls can emotional eat too. We experience those things. But how are you stopping yourself from achieving that goal? Okay. The next thing to consider for yourself is, do you have a support system around you? Again, we're talking about fitness and wellness. Okay. Do your friends know about it? Do your family members know about it? Do you have a partner or a spouse that you can talk about with those things? You know, when you're thinking about sabotaging yourself, do you have an accountability buddy that you can call and say, hey, I think I'm about to go eat all these chicken wings? Do you have somebody that you can call? I know that for me, I could call my girlfriends and say, hey, I'm having a tough time. I really want to emotional eat right now. And so they would take the time to talk to me, talk me through things. Sometimes I would just get so frustrated because like eating healthy, it can get really boring. It can get, ooh, it can be like, "Ugh, this isn't fun, you know? And so you need that support system that knows how much you want to achieve your goals and they can help you to stay on track with it. They can help you to stay afloat. So, do you have those friends, family members, coworkers, sorority sisters? Oh, shout out to the girls. Ooh, whoop. Do you have that? Do you truly have that? How can you find it if you don't have it? And that leads into my next point. If you are trying to get healthy, do you have the correct gym facility that's going to get you to that space? Okay. Do they offer the things that you need? Do they offer group exercise classes? Do you like the instructors that are there? Do you like the people that work at the front desk there? Like, can you ask them questions when it comes to your health and your wellness? You know what I'm saying? Really think about those types of things as well when it comes to you kicking off your wellness journey in December, not in January. Do you have a reward system? Every time you hit a certain goal, how are you going to reward yourself? Not with food, but maybe you'll purchase yourself something. Maybe you'll go on a trip. Maybe you will finally do something that you said you've always wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Those are great. Those are great ways to reward yourself, but you really want to make sure to have a reward system set up. How are you going to celebrate yourself for hitting the goal? Are you going to have a party? Are you going to tell your friends? Are your friends going to come over? Are you going to do da 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 da? And then also be honest with yourself about the things that you're willing to sacrifice during that time that you're trying to achieve that goal. Like, I know for me, with the goals that I have for 2026, I know that I have to sacrifice just pissing around. I'm known for pissing around when I get off work. I will sit on this couch and be asleep, or I'll just zoom on my phone and just be looking at stuff like in an hour, 2 hours goes by. Like, what are you willing to give up? What sacrifices are you willing to make? You know, something that I had found on YouTube, shout out to my homegirl. She sent me this YouTube video, and I think I talked about this on my last podcast episode titled We Winning. And what she talked about was, who are you when you achieve that goal? So think of at the end of 2026, who are you? Write a letter to yourself in real time. Like, oh my gosh, girl, it is December 1st, 2026. And I can't believe all the goals that we hit. We lost this much weight or we gained this much muscle. Or, bitch, we completed a high rocks. I'm talking to myself. Y'all, I can't believe I'm gonna do a high rocks in 2026. Somebody freaking come and I cannot believe I'm gonna do a high rocks in 2026. Like, oh my gosh. But I'm gonna say that to myself in my letter to myself for 2020, like before I go into 2027. I'm gonna write a letter to myself about, girl, can you believe it? We did high rocks and we finished it in under 90s. And I laugh because I talk so much shit about never, ever, ever doing high rocks. And here I am getting ready to train for freaking high rocks. But write that letter to yourself about, again, all of the wellness things that you've achieved, state how, it was hard. Maybe it wasn't hard, talk that shit in existence, right? And then, so after you've written that letter, one thing that I forgot to mention, do you have the system set in place for you to achieve these goals? That's going to be really important. Do you have the system of, when you get up in the morning, this is how you're going to work out. This is how much you're going to do this. You're going to wash clothes on this particular day. You're going to eat these foods. You have your meal prep containers. You have your grocery deliveries set up. You'll have it set up by this day at this time every single week. Like, you really got to get in the mindset of how does the person that has completed it, how did they get to it? Don't fully worry about the how, but ask yourself, what are they doing to make this happen? Oh, they have, and I'm talking to myself because I have it now, weekly grocery delivery. You have your glass meal prep stuff. You have your gym schedule set up. You have the gym clothes that you need. You have the gym shoes that you need. You have the extra equipment that you need to bring with you to the gym. You have your doctor's appointment set up. You have your, whatever it is that you need. Do you have the systems in place? Do you have the system in place even on the weeks where you don't need the systems in place? Are you planning ahead? Like, for me, for my wellness goals, not even just my wellness goals, but even like my content goals, all of those things, I have to have those systems set in place weeks in advance. I have to look ahead for, all right, this week's going to be a little bit challenging. I can do this on this day. Oh, that week's a little bit challenging. Let me flip this around. Let me do this. Like, you have to plan ahead. You have to be ready with your system. You have to be ready for the, just in case this happens, I can do this instead. And then also, are you going to give yourself grace during this process? You're not a robot. You're not a robot. So you need to take the space to give yourself grace for the moments where you might slip up, the moments where you might really be lazy and be like, you know what? I'm really not trying to do this today. Like, you have to be even prepared for, my ladies, when your period comes. Everybody experiences different menstrual cycles. You know, how are you going to give yourself grace? Is that going to be the time where you say, you know what, I ain't doing a damn thing, and then I'll get myself back on the ball the next week? Really think about all of those things when it comes to you and your fitness and your wellness going into 2026. Are there products that you want to try? Get the products now, bibs. Protein powders. There are protein powders you want to try. Get the products now, bibs. But really set yourself up for the success. Start thinking about it now. Grab that journal. Mine is somewhere in here. Grab that journal. Write down everything that you want to achieve. And again, I'm only talking from the fitness and wellness standpoint. Okay. But it applies to other things too. If you have financial goals, if you have social goals, if you have relationship goals, grab that journal. It is December the 1st. By the time this comes out, it's not going to be December the 1st. But grab that journal and write everything down. Write it down. What do you want to achieve in 2026? Write it down. Execute it. Ask yourself, who do I need to be to make this happen? What systems do I need to have in place? Who do I need in my corner? What outside influences do I need? What outside influences do I need to cut out and get rid of? What parts of myself are going to sabotage me from hitting these goals? What limiting beliefs do I have that was started by someone else? Because remember, you weren't born with limited beliefs. Those are inherited or influence things from other people's insecurities, other people's ideologies, and influences, but what have you taken in that is not going to help you to get to that next level that you're trying to get to? Whether it is for fitness, for wellness, for nutrition, mental health, whatever. What do you need to do for you going into 2026? Now, if you have been following me for years, you know I always say, don't do the whole this, we got 31 days left. You need to do this. I need to hurry up and do. No, don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't put all that pressure on yourself to come just to go balls to the walls. Don't do that. Okay. Now, I do always say December, especially if you're trying to get back in the gym, this is the best time to get back in the gym. Because why? Ain't nobody in there. Nobody's there. They're getting ready for the holidays. They're doing holiday stuff. And that's cool. But if you want to go to the gym and it's quiet and, maybe you can get a little bit of personal attention from your favorite group exercise instructor, stuff like that, this is the greatest time. Because I guarantee y'all, come January 1st, everybody and mama gonna be in there. Don't get lost in the sauce. Start your journey now. Start doing the things now. Get yourself in the mindset now. Get in that 2026 mindset. And like I said, that doesn't mean to at everything like now. It doesn't mean that. It just means really take the time to really, really be intentional about your goals and dig deep into your goals and just the self-awareness around your goals. Like really, really get yourself into it. What does that look like for you? How are you doing that? Like I told y'all, I journal, I meditate. I'm up to 10 minutes of meditation. By the end of the year, I'm going to be at 15 minutes of meditation. I think I did 15 minutes one day. I want to say I did, but longer meditations. And it's also I really struggle with like my procrastination. So I have to pray every day, God, please, please, please don't let me procrastinate. Please take that spirit of procrastination away from me. And I have to also bargain with my inner critic and my subconscious. Like my subconscious is like, bitch, I just want to go to sleep. I just want to eat and get comfortable and warm and sleep, right? But I have to be like, listen, once we get all of this work done, once we get the things completed, we got to put our big girl panties on. Also, my inner self really wants to shop. I have to bargain with her there a lot. Like I have to be like, listen, if we can get this done, we can look online and see what we can add to our wish list. If we can get this done, we can do all of the things. But you know, really develop that self-awareness. That's what I've been trying to do. Really stepping into who am I already? That's what you gotta think about. Who are you already? Do you really want to get to that person? Do you really want to be there? Y'all pray for me as I get ready for High Rocks. I don't know why I let these girls talk me into doing some damn High Rocks. Like, why am I getting ready to train for a High Rock? Like, y'all please pray for me through that. I already have the training program together. I created it. If you're doing High Rocks, let's talk about it. Comment on YouTube down below. Lord Jesus, Father God, give me the strength, give me all of the things. But I got to think about who I am when I cross the finish line. Like that's where my mind is. My mind is already on I can see myself doing it now that like everybody's been talking to me about it. But I see myself crossing that finish line. I see myself eating the food once I'm done. I see I see myself doing the things like but I'm just like the lead up to it is like, oh, I got to do all of this training cuz I hate running. Myself now hates running. Who knows? My future self might be like, "Oh my gosh, this is great." I hate running. The squats you got to do for the wall ball. There's burpees. I just hope that my team understands I'm not here to like win High Rocks. I just want to finish. And I would love to finish in under 2 hours. But I know that if I have a team, we'll definitely finish in under 2 hours. But baby, y'all pray for me. Y'all pray for me. But this is the first video episode. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks again. Thank you for joining me for this for the first time. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like this video, share it with a friend if you're listening on whatever podcast streaming network that you're listening on. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, do all of the things there. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your podcast. Leave a review because remember, that helps for new listeners to hear the show, especially if you like it so much. Same thing on YouTube. Make sure that you leave a comment, do all of the things. But y'all, I just can't believe that this has happened. And this was part of my goal too, going into 2026, that I would be doing this and be consistent with it. And I finally found a system that I'm able to do both of them at the same time. So this is awesome. Shout out to my mom for my peanut shirts. She got this from England for me. I love the peanuts. As we do more videos, I'll show y'all more of my peanut stuff that I have. Shout out to my Squishmallow. My aunt in England got it for me. I love stuffed animals. I love fuzzy things. I love comfort. I'm a Taurus. I love comfort. I love luxury. I love all of those things. But y'all, thank you so much for loving me. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for watching the show. As always, y'all, don't forget you can follow me on social media at HeyNiqueV on all social media platforms. Redefining Wellness with Nique here on YouTube. Redefining Wellness on Facebook. Thank y'all so much for supporting the show. If you want to be a super duper supporter, don't forget you can buy me a cup of coffee. 1 cup, 2 cups, 10 cups. All of your support goes towards a better production of this channel and this show. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you for being uniquely fit. See ya.